As reaction pours in to video footage of Nichols' arrest, there are new questions about the policing policies departments use during encounters like this one.
For more on this case and investigation, Alfred Titus joins us for more. He is an adjunct assistant professor at John Jay College of Criminal Justice and a retired NYPD homicide detective and hostage negotiator. Welcome, Alfred. You know, there's a lot to talk about here, sort of a lot to unpack, but what stands out to you in this moment with respect to this case?
Yes, well, first I'd like to thank you, Elaine and Catherine, for having me on tonight. And I definitely would like to send my heartfelt condolences out to the Nichols family. As far as this case goes, one of the things that bothered me from the time I initially heard it was the fact that there are 5 officers present, and I haven't seen the video yet myself, so I'm just going on what I've been told. There are 5 officers present, possibly assaulting Mr. Nichols, and not one of them follows the policy, which is the duty to interfere policy and stop the illegal action from happening. That is a big problem for me. 5 officers, regardless of their color, not one of them was humane enough to stop the attack. That was a problem.
Based on your law enforcement experience, what's your assessment of the allegations against these officers and the fact that they're all facing the same charges?
Yeah. Well, I'm sure the video will clarify all of that. The fact that they, based on what the previous reporter stated, it sounds like they did what's called a violent felony car stop. Now, a violent felony car stop is only done when you have a seriously violent felon in a car and there's a car chase and you think there are guns in the car. So for a basic car stop, it does not make sense. Now, the Scorpion unit, which actually stands for Street Crimes Operation to Restore Peace in Our Neighborhood. The acronym is Scorpion Team. That team, what they do is they look for minor traffic violations, and then with that, they use the stops that they're able to make to look for drugs and guns. And that's how they clean up the community. So, you know, with that in mind, that's why Mr. Nichols was stopped. I'm not sure what kind of car he was driving. I'm not sure if the windows were tinted. I'm not sure about all of that because we haven't seen the video, but it would not surprise me if the vehicle he's driving is a specific type of vehicle and there are other common characteristics that would make the police want to stop this vehicle. And he may have done a minor infraction like not coming to a full stop at a stop sign or not signaling in time before he made a turn. It could be something as simple as that. But the fact that this Scorpion team is an active, proactive team, that's what they address. And they swoon in on him, and, you know, we know what happened from there.
So based on that, Alfred, I want to go back to what you said a moment ago. Under the law, in what cases are police allowed to use lethal force?
Police are only allowed to use lethal force when lethal force is being used against them or against someone else. That is not the case here at all. There was, based on what I've heard, again, I haven't seen the video yet, but based on what I've heard, there was not even a need for a taser. The reporter who spoke earlier stated that Mr. Nichols seemed surprised that they were even stopping him because, you know, as we found out, he's not that person. You know, he's not a violent felon. He's not someone that you need to box in. He's not someone that you need to pull out of a car or treat violently. He's not aggressive towards you, so there should be no aggression towards him. That's how policing works.
As you mentioned earlier, these officers who are charged with the killing of Tyre Nichols were part of this specialized unit, the so-called Scorpion unit. In this case, it was created in the fall of 2021 to help control violence in that city. Is that going to be a significant factor in the investigation? And are we seeing more widespread use of these so-called suppression units?
Absolutely. Well, in this country, we have seen an increase in crime, and a lot of time cities put together these proactive teams to go out and address the rise in crime, and that's what the Scorpion unit is. From what I understand, there are a few other complaints against the unit that are similar, excessive force types of complaints. And I believe that the community will call for the unit to be disbanded. I believe that the police will review the data and statistics on the unit and then make that determination. One of the things that makes it difficult for the police to just disband the unit is the fact that within 6 months from when it was created in October 2021 to January 2022, they made over 566 arrests, seized over $100,000 in cash, seized 270 vehicles, and over 250 weapons off of the Memphis streets. So the idea of the unit is good. But the problem is that power and that authority can sometimes be abused and sometimes go to the head of some of the officers. And that's what we saw here.
I wonder, looking at the sort of national landscape, Alfred, have there been some changes in policing since the death of George Floyd in 2020?
There were some changes made. There were criminal justice reforms with regards to bail and the type of chokeholds and chest compressions that officers can make when they're apprehended an individual. And matter of fact, in New York City, they removed the plainclothes units, which was another thing that was done in response to the George Floyd incident. But there still needs to be more, and not necessarily more legal policies like that, but more directed to the police department. The police department has to become more accountable. They need to improve training. And, I would wonder if these individuals who have been in this unit since October 2021, have they been to any training since they were in the unit? These officers with this much power and this much authority need to be monitored closely. And by sending them off to a day or two of training every 3 or 4 months, that allows the police department to monitor them and make sure that they are not straying from their intended goals.
Alfred Titus, thank you.
You're welcome.